Hey gang, welcome to my channel. I'm the Pony 314 and we have another law enforcement classic for you. The revolver that basically set the stage for law enforcement carry for several decades, the Colt Official Police. So, here are the basics. This is a 6-shot double or single action revolver chambered in .38 special built on Colt's I-frame. It has fixed sights and usually a 4-inch barrel, though 5- and 6-inch barrels were available. The Colt Official Police was a slight redesign of the earlier Colt Army Special, which was introduced in 1907. Colt hoped that the Army Special could serve as the new U.S. military sidearm, and that's a long story in and of itself, and we're not going to waste your time with that. But in the event, it didn't happen. The U.S. military ended up going with the M1911 and never looked back. But the Army Special remained in production for years afterwards. The Army Special had been an improvement on the earlier Colt New Army and New Navy revolvers, but with the U.S. military now moving into the age of the automatic pistol, revolvers of any kind were becoming supplementary weapons to make up for shortages during wars. But with the military moving on in terms of sidearms, there was a whole market just waiting to be conquered. Law enforcement, who were staying with revolvers, even as European police were beginning to adopt light-caliber compact automatic pistols. Yep, well, that's America. We certainly were a revolver-type people back then. So, in 1927, the Army Special underwent some cosmetic surgery, shall we say. And they had the result was a wider rear sight groove, a checkered cylinder latch and trigger, and the dull military finish was replaced by a high polish. Also, the classic black hard rubber Colt grips were replaced with checkered walnut grips. And just to make sure that law enforcement understood that they were the primary target customer base, the Army Special became the Colt Official Police. You know what they say, one door closes, another gets blown off its hinges. Also in 1927, the classic Cops and Robbers revolver, the Detective Special, was introduced, and the Police Positive had been seeing police use for years by then. So yes, Colt was clearly interested in laying claim to the law enforcement market, and everybody else could go pound sand as far as they were concerned. And believe me, American police were receptive. This became a huge seller, and within just a few years, police departments across America were gobbling up the Colt Official Police and standardizing on it. In fact, Colt's 1933 catalog stated that it had been adopted by the police departments of New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, Kansas City, and I think San Francisco. The FBI would adopt it soon after. It was exported to South America. It became a widely used police revolver down there. It also is adopted to one degree or another by the U.S. Coast Guard, the Postal Inspection Service, and the Treasury Department. So, fairly quickly, this became the American police revolver to beat. Let's skip ahead to World War II. Suddenly, the U.S. military was very interested in revolvers again. But first off, between 1940 and 41, the British, through Lend-Lease, were supplied with about 50,000 of these, chambered in .38-200, or .38 Smith & Wesson if you prefer, which was their standard military revolver cartridge. Now, back to America. Not enough 1911s to go around, and while the Smith & Wesson military and police revolver was by far the most widely used American wartime revolver, the official police did see service, with small numbers purchased by the U.S. government early on, and after that, mostly in the form of the Colt Commando, introduced in 1942, simplified for mass production. Now that version had a smooth hammer and trigger, had a dull finish, and plastic grips. Also, Colt Commandos were produced with either 2- or 4-inch barrels. About 54,000 of these were acquired by the U.S. government during the war, but not a lot of them saw any combat. Some were issued to Navy and Marine air crews. Some went to the Merchant Marine, the Office of Strategic Services. That was the wartime precursor to the CIA, by the way. Some of these were supplied to resistance groups in occupied Europe. But their most significant wartime use was as a weapon of issue to security guards at war industries, or government office buildings, so on. Not exactly glamorous, but the Colt Commando did what was needed. So, now I'm going to do what's needed and take this classic to the range. So, I will see you all there. Welcome to the Municipal Shooting Range in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, where this time we have the Colt Official Police. And downrange a few yards is our bleeding zombie clown target. We're going to make it bleed a little bit more. Our first shoot is going to go single action. So, let's dance. Production of the standard Colt Official Police resumed after World War II and remained a hugely popular police revolver through the 50s. And Colt was introducing new revolvers such as the Trooper, the .357, and the Python. And increasingly, the Colt Official Police was seen as something of a dated design. Then there was Smith & Wesson, who had plenty of new designs of their own for the law enforcement market. And all this basically resulted in the Colt Official Police ending its production run in 1969. But by that time, about 400,000 had been made, and that made it one of Colt's best-selling revolvers of all time, and that looks pretty good on a resume. You can't really overstate the importance of the Colt Official Police in revolver history. This was a design that more or less set the stage for what police would be looking for in their duty weapons for the next few decades. So the medium frame revolver, 4-inch barrel, chambered in .38 special would be the standard for American uniformed police for about 60 years, all the way to the late 80s, even if the Colt Official Police wasn't really there to see the end of that. If this was, in fact, the revolver that truly started all that, well, that looks good on a resume, too. So I'm itching to get back to shooting. So what do you say we hop back in the car and get down to Truth or Consequences once again, and have a little bit more fun? Now we're going to do our second shoot with the Colt Official Police, and double action this time. Double your pleasure. Let's dance. And so that was our episode on the Colt Official Police. Thanks for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. And if you like our subject matter on this channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button. I'm the Pony 314, and I'll see you at the range.